India's influence today extends far beyond geography, shaped by its culture, values, and people. Hello, Namaskar. I'm Kajal Goswami, and you are watching K Updates. It's a pleasure to welcome Mr. Dinesh, a senior journalist with over 25 years of experience in print media. He has worked with leading newspapers, the Indian Express, the Times of India, and the Tribune, reporting extensively on defense, foreign policy, politics, and national security. He has also researched India US defense relations and India's military power, including work at Monash University. Today at K Updates, we will be speaking with him about India's growing global influence. Sir, we are truly honored to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Sir, so my first question would be, as I mentioned, that you have spent significant part of your academic journey abroad and interacted with different people from many cultures. How did that experience shape your understanding of India's image and influence globally?
I've had the opportunity to travel from the time when I was a child. That was mainly to do because of the nature of my father's job that entailed his being posted in different countries over a period of time. So I would mostly travel alone to these countries, and then of course I was with my parents, and I would meet a lot of young people of my age group at that point of time. So I would find that most people of my age group were either ignorant about India, or whatever understanding they had of India was negative, especially about its socio-economic conditions that were prevailing at that point of time. I would very occasionally come across a person who would have something interesting or positive to say about India. We're talking about a long time ago, about 40 years ago. But then I started to feel that perhaps I need to know more about my own country, and I need to understand it, which is something which I started doing over a period of time. I started reading, quite a bit, and then talking to people, asking questions, understanding things. And then I also found that over a period of time, one, my understanding grew, but at the same time, there were a lot of changes taking place in India. And then to my surprise, and I'm talking about 20-25 years ago, I found that people talking about India in a far more positive way. And one of the influences that were very evident was Bollywood movies and songs, and things like yoga, things like Ayurveda. Then, of course, religion and spiritualism, of course, was always there. But it also was because of the changes that are taking place in India, and its economic progress, and its gradual improvement in world standing.
That's great. And one thing that you highlighted was, music played a very important role. Yoga, meditation, that highlights that how the influence is quite positive. And looking back to your friendships and interaction across cultures, what that one lesson that truly changed your perspective on world, especially people of the world?
Well, people of the world are mostly the same, actually. The emotions are the same, the thinking, it's largely same. But one thing which I find that is very evident in these Western countries, these countries, and when I say Western countries, I'm also including countries like Japan and South Korea. These countries have not progressed just like that. uh, Leave aside, of course, colonial rule and the exploitations and all that stuff which has significantly added to their wealth and everything. But leaving that aside, these are people who are serious. They work very hard, and there's a lot of discipline and organization. And that is something which I, have come to realize, and I mean not realize, but I've observed every time I travel. Repeatedly, I notice this, that I really wish that we were more disciplined and more organized in the way we do things, in the way we think, starting from the way we think. I have studied at different universities across the UK, US, and Australia. Then I went to school in New Zealand, and there's one thing which they kind of make you do, which is they make you think, and they encourage originality. You know, so and also rigor. Now, these are things which we all kind of get talked about in moral science and, lectures our parents give us. But those guys actually they practice it, and that is why to a large extent they have really done well. I'm not saying that we aren't doing well, and we are all absolute stupid and all that stuff. No, but wherever we apply the same things, then that's when it shows. And I just wish we did it more. That's all.
So discipline is the key, definitely. Sir, so last but not the least, before we conclude, one last question would be, which element of India, whether culture, values, innovation, or people, do you think has the strongest impact globally today, and why do you think so?
I think it's a mix of all these factors. uh, Culture, yes. History, yes, which is very prevalent. You have to travel in Southeast Asia, and you want to understand. I've learned quite a bit about Indian culture and Indianness in my travels in Southeast Asia. Countries like Cambodia, countries like Laos, countries like Indonesia, and so on, and there are many more. And then if you go to countries like Fiji, or you go to Suriname, or you go to Trinidad and Tobago or Guyana, you see the kind of spread that Indians really have. And I was really surprised to learn, for example, that in Suriname, which is a country in South America, Hindi is a compulsory language that is taught to everyone. You know, so the Indian uh, culture, its ethos, its history, of course, is fundamental. There are civilizational connections which go back hundreds, thousands of years, even with countries like I was in Israel, and I was walking on the streets of the walled city of Jerusalem, and I suddenly found a plaque about Baba Farid, who had visited Jerusalem about 600 years ago. And you go to a country like Fiji, and in their museum they have an entire section only on India and Indians. So you kind of see that spread. But of course, in more modern time, India's economic power, its standing, and also the fact that consistently India has been a very responsible member of the international community. It takes time, but these things, I think, somewhere does percolate and it gets noticed. And Indians are very hardworking abroad, and they're very
Yeah,
affluent.
yeah.
Like in the US, the Indians are the largest, the most affluent community. The most affluent immigrant community. And then you go into the Gulf countries, and you see millions of people over there, working hard, and likewise elsewhere as well.
Yes, definitely. So the key takeaways, let me just give a revision. Consistency, discipline are the very important factors that you
Yeah,
need
I
to
mean,
work on.
these two things definitely, and it's also about rigor. It's about knowledge. It's about being industrious. It's about your basic approach. I mean, every country I've been to, it doesn't matter whether it's a developing country or a developed country. There's cleanliness. People don't throw, they don't litter and throw garbage. I mean, we can't even keep our, you know, we don't keep our surroundings clean at all.
Yeah.
It's a very small thing, but it really starts from discipline, inner discipline, which has to start from home. You go to countries like Japan, and there are no dustbins there,
Yeah,
and people carry their own trash, and they don't
in their own
they
back
don't
pocket.
they
Yes.
don't litter.
They
So
don't.
things like that.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir, for educating us about so many issues. And we come to a end.
Thank you. No, the pleasure is all mine. The honor is all mine.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you very much once again for having me on the
Thank you so
on
much,
your
sir.
program.
So
Thank you.
that's all for today. This is me, Kajal Goswami, signing off.